Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Woods Walk Gun Talk. This is going to be Woods Walk Gun Talk number 30. Number 30. Yay! I've already done 30 of these. So, 73 degrees today in Maine, in the woods. As we get away from the road, we'll wander off into the woods where I shan't get lost. I will not get lost. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A couple of things about firearms. The state of Maine's going to be starting up their legislative sessions soon. They're going to want to take the damn guns, even though they say that's not what they want to do. And I was talking with the gentleman who is running in my district against the Democrat. He's a Republican, was on city council for a while, and law enforcement for a long time. He's also an officer at a gun range, and a good pro 2A guy, Bill Clement. I'm going to be voting for him. Anyway, he was telling me that we have a good chance at winning the House this year. He said we have a good shot at it, getting a majority, because a lot of people are getting tired of this far left extremist nonsense. And if that's the case, then a lot of this gun legislation isn't going to happen. So they want to do a bona fide, full-blown red flag law, which, if you're familiar from Maine, we have a yellow flag law, which, unfortunately, with Robert Card, who did the mass shooting here, he was in New York when he was making his threats, when law enforcement was present. New York does not have the same laws we have here, plus it was the National Guard. I don't know if there was a jurisdiction thing, but at the very least, the New York State Police should have contacted the Maine State Police and let them know that they have somebody with a screw loose who was talking to them on the body cam footage I saw about hearing voices, and people were talking about him, calling him a child molester, and he was trained properly to deal with those things. The officers were telling him that the people that you're associated with here say that that's not the case, and you're hearing things. And he started to get agitated. And so the yellow flag law we have here in Maine would have remedied that. He would have had his firearms confiscated through judicial means with a psychiatrist suggesting that that should happen. So they want to do a full-blown red flag, which would give the police sole authority to confiscate firearms on their own discretion, which I do not agree with. Because you could have somebody in a marital dispute. Officers don't really know the whole story. And she could just say, as a vengeance tactic, or he could do that to a woman too. I'm not being sexist. I'm distributing that equally. Oh, hi, duck. Oh, look. We got a duck sitting right here. How you doing, buddy? Oh, look at that. He's just hanging out. was that? Hi everybody. We saw a duck. There he is. He's over there ducking about. Swimming in the water. He was doing fine until I scared that frog, and the frog jumped in the water, and then the duck went away. So anyway, hope everybody's doing wonderful today. Welcome to Woods Walker Gun Talk number 30. We have a nice sunny day. Now that big cloud has gone by, the sun came back out. And we're going to go trudging through the woods. So anyway, they want to do a yellow flag upgrade here. After all the hubbub they did about this isn't a red flag law. You can vote for the yellow flag. It doesn't work the same way as a red flag. So it's just like everything the Democrats do. You give them an inch and they'll take a mile. So the thing is you have to not give Democrats an inch. And that is just my policy that I support. They're greedy. You give them a win, they're going to take some more. So they only got a couple laws passed. Thankfully, the governor here vetoed 2 of the gun bills. One of which was allowing the modification of a firearm to shoot easier. And the way it was worded in the legislation, and this is why Democrats are dangerous to this stuff, is they're ignorant to a lot of gun stuff. They had it worded where anytime you pull a trigger and then more than one projectile shoots, it'll be illegal. And that's exactly what you get with a shotgun. You have buckshot has more than one projectile in it for every trigger pull. So the governor vetoed that because it wasn't worded properly. And these people were told that in committee. They didn't care. They didn't care. So a lot of hunters also modify their triggers to be able to set your trigger and barely touch it and it fires. That makes for a more accurate shot when you're hunting. And so the other problem we had was 72-hour waiting period for a firearm. That did pass, and the governor did sign it. So that should have applied to first-time gun owners, because the basis for that was, well, we don't want people buying a firearm when they're depressed and they're going to kill themselves. Well, if you already own a firearm, you know. So anyway, let's flip this around for a little bit. So we're going to be getting this legislation again. I don't know what they're going to try to throw in there this year, but they're relentless. So we need to win the House. Do more important things, like lowering prices and taxes and other things. Maine has a lot of taxes. So that needs to be remedied. So it is a beautiful day. I wanted to do a woods walk yesterday, but I watched the Trump rally, and it ran till 4 o'clock. And then the sun and shadows were starting to get long. So today I'm out in the afternoon. We'll be able to get our walk in as Trump visits Georgia today. So President Biden was asked by the media if he's taking command of this, and he said, "Oh, I commanded. I was on the phone for 2 hours yesterday." Oh, great. Oh, my security team is taking care of things. Oh, great. You know what that means? That means his security team is taking care of this instead of Biden. Because as we suspected, Biden is an installed puppet. He's a puppet. So that's been confirmed. And he doesn't look healthy. He looks really bad. So Biden doesn't have much time left, physically. He's finished. And Kamala Harris, instead of taking care of the death and mayhem in North Carolina, which is the vice president's job, whether Biden is incapacitated because of age or not, or whatever, it's her job as vice president. She went to San Francisco this weekend for a fundraiser. $250,000 a seat, a plate, luncheon, and $100,000 per picture, photograph of the vice president. That's what she did instead of going to North Carolina or Georgia or other states that are in trouble. So Trump's going. Not only is Trump going, I was happy as punch earlier watching CNN have to say, boy, Trump really came all full guns blazing. He brought food, supplies. He brought a whole tanker truck full of gasoline. Personally calling Elon Musk to set up Starlink so these people can have internet, so they can communicate with other people. Hundreds of people are going to be dead when this is over with. There's 115 now. Trump was talking with a woman who said 10 people in her family have been killed. And she was really distraught. So Trump was out there today being presidential, giving hugs, and he was asked if he was going to call Biden, and he said, no, I'm not going to call Biden. He's probably having a nap or something like that. So while he was in Georgia today, he said the governor in Georgia was doing a great job. And he also said that this is the time for unity. Politics don't matter right now. These people are suffering, and I'm here to help. So that was the good answer from him today. I'm sure the media is going to find something negative. But it was funny watching CNN relaying this information, and they weren't able to find anything to disparage Trump about. And they actually talked about how much good he was doing. So that's good. At least CNN once in a while is being fair until they have their panel of people of color later, like I saw last night. And this panel who just hates Trump. And CNN needs to stop that. They need to have a mix of people who actually are interested in having a debate about things without partisanship. The American public is tired of it. Frank Luntz, famous pollster and debate prep person, agrees with that. People are looking for hope and a future. They're not looking for all this negativity. People are tired of that. And he did a focus group And it was really interesting because it was 11 minutes long. I watched the entire video. Frank Luntz did not interrupt them once. The entire discussion. All 11 people on a Zoom call were focused on the issue of immigration, discussing what's right and what's wrong in both parties. And basically, at the end of the day, everybody was angry at the government, more angry at Democrats for using it for politics, and kind of upset at some Republicans for using it for politics. And the majority of these people in this video, which consisted of white, black, Hispanic, it was a good mix, a couple of gay people, they said they're voting for Trump. Trump has experience with it. He closed the border before. And all of these people in this group, every single one of them, supported deportation. Mass deportation of these bad people that were let in. And they distinguished the difference between good immigrants and bad immigrants. It was a beautiful thing to watch. Frank didn't have to say a damn thing. And I think CNN was really stunned, because CNN actually aired most of it. And so there it is. That's why Kamala Harris is not going to win. If you wanted to know. Because she was the border czar. And she was. And that's just the fact of it. So we're back at this fireplace. You may have seen on these walks before. I love walking here. There was a lot of people the last time. It was on the weekend. Today is a Monday. It's quiet. I haven't seen anybody else here. I'm sure somebody's around here though. There always is. And so we have Kamala Harris is an incumbent. She's an incumbent. She was selected. People don't like to say that, but she was selected. Not one person voted for her in the primary. And that was a mistake by the DNC, because that means she was anointed, she was appointed. She was not voted for by the people, and they're just going to vote for her because it's not Trump. And that's not going to win. New polling came out yesterday. Again, Trump is surging ahead. He is. And I'm here very happy to see it. And Trump is seizing upon this opportunity with this disaster in Georgia and North Carolina, where Kamala and Joe Biden are nowhere to be found, at least seemingly. They're not in the public eye. I'm sure they're going to show up a few days from now or later this week after Trump's already been there, so it doesn't matter then. So anyway, we get the woods behind us. I do love walking out here. And so things are coming together. And Trump was president before. He's got that experience. And you know, the excuse from the left today is, well, it's not good for a vice president or president to show up immediately after a disaster. It causes problems. I seem to recall a hurricane in Puerto Rico where Trump apparently was not getting out there fast enough for the media, and they made a big news cycle out of it. And then when he went out there, they made a big deal out of him chucking paper towel rolls. Remember that? Like he was having a good time. Remember, they made fun of him for that? So there are a bunch of hypocrites, and I think people have caught on to it by now. And from what I've seen on the internet, it's not really playing very well for Kamala and Joe Biden. It's a missed opportunity by them because they were more interested in fundraising, and Biden was on vacation. I saw a picture of him. He was out on a boat while people are drowning and dying in Nashville, North Carolina, instead of addressing the country. Just shameful, shameful. These people are just awful. it only takes a couple minutes to do a live press thing with the press invited, saying as soon as I'm able to get out there, I'm going to get out there. We have these logistics. I'm really sorry about the people in Nashville, North Carolina. Nothing. Not a damn thing. Just he shows up and does a presser thing. He's asked and said, oh, I'm dealing with it. I was on the phone for 2 hours yesterday. My security team is on it. Basically, that means his security team called him to let him know what they were doing because Biden is a puppet, not doing anything himself. That's what that means. So my suspicions of that have been confirmed as we see this lake of muck, which we need a lot of rain to fill this back up. I've never seen it this low. So anyway, I'm going to flip this around. I figured it'd be best to do a mix of selfie stream and non-selfie stream. But anyway, you know, it's just an example of the bureaucracy tagged in this White House, where they do things on Biden's behalf because he doesn't make these decisions and they're trusted to just do it. But they inform him of what they're doing. So I don't agree with that. I don't. That is pretty weak, pretty cheap. And so we'll walk up this way. Hope you're enjoying the Woods Walk Again Talk number 30. That goes towards the way out. This goes towards the way in. We see a little chipmunk on a stump there. Hey, little belly. Hi, little buddy. Hi. There he goes. I spooked him. Those little suckers are quick. Quick! Get up the tree, hurry! If you're wondering the shirt I was wearing, that is the Gizmonics Institute. If you're familiar with Mystery Science Theater 3000, this is an official Mystery Science Theater 3000 shirt purchased from their website 3 or 4 years ago. I also got official coffee mugs, limited edition, very collectible. One of them got broken, got knocked off the kitchen counter and busted, unfortunately. So I put the other one away so that won't happen. And irreplaceable. So it was disappointing I lost one of them, but it was good that I bought 2 of them, right? That's why I bought 2, in case something happens to one of them. So that was the story with that. Anyway, I'm going to walk through here. This is a nice walk through in the winter time here. This area has a lot of late sunshine covering the snow. Always looks nice. Definitely got to look into some snowshoes, but like I said, I'm really leery of that because when you're walking with those damn things, all you hear them go is when you're walking. So step over this log. So Trump's taking care of business in Georgia. I think a lot of people were not expecting him to do what he's doing today. He didn't just show up with, you know, his entourage and hand out a couple of things. He's got trucks filled with food, medical supplies. He showed up with a friggin' tanker full of gas. Must have cost a fortune. As far as I know, he's paying for it. That is unbelievable. And if he's using campaign money for that, God bless him. That's why people donated. We want to win. So, you know that media story is going to come out.
He never used his own money.
I'm sure they're checking to see what funded this or not. And I hope it turns out that it's his money. That would be nice, but I would not be disappointed if it was donated money. Because people are going to donate money to these people anyway. There's all kinds of Red Cross stuff and charities, and so he's on it, man. He's on it. He's taking care of business. I love that about him. So I imagine after leaving Georgia, I haven't checked the schedule yet, but I'm pretty sure he's going to go to North Carolina. He wants to keep North Carolina. He wants to win Georgia, obviously. So I'm sure he's going to go to North Carolina. I don't know if he's going to do that today. Maybe. We'll see what happens. He's done that before. This has gone through 5 states. Georgia and North Carolina are affected the worst. I don't think a lot of people understand the amount of damage done in Georgia. It's not small. Okay, it's a problem. So it's gonna take some resources to fix it. And it looks like we have some fresh sawdust here. Looks like they've been cutting up this log that was sticking out too far. Remember that? It looks like they cut it and they put the pieces over here off to the side. And they will haul some stuff out of here, but a lot of times they leave it so people can not people, but animals end up using it, and the wood decays back into the ground. So we'll walk through here on this path. As you can see, there's a lot of leaves falling now, and we're still not at peak leaf peeping yet. And it's coming soon though. I'm looking to time that perfectly to get some good video for y'all. And so we got a lot of things covered with leaves, as you can see, which present their own dangers when hiking, if you're not familiar with that. You step on a steep slope and it's covered with leaves. You can end up feet coming out from under you with a combination of leaves and acorns. Acorns can be like little ball bearings underneath leaves, and your feet will just take off. So we got this old tree here, still alive. Most of the branches have broken off through storms over the years. That looks like a very old big tree. Big giant pine tree. Look at it. So it's still making pine needles at the top, but it's elderly, it's old. Its time will come, like everything else that's old. There's another one that's kind of big over there. So I like coming out here, seeing all this stuff. So I've been watching a couple movies lately that have to do with young people being killed in the woods, slasher films. Madman was one of them. That's about Madman Mars, where supposedly you say his name 3 times and he will come out and hunt you down. And another one was called Don't Go in the Woods. So I like those kinds of movies. So we're going to walk down this way, and we're going to circle back, go up on the green trail from this one, which is the orange. I'm on the orange trail. You can see it's pretty nice and peaceful here. There's nobody around. Everybody's gone. Now we could keep going straight ahead this way, but we're going to go that way, off to the right. Maybe we'll see some deer out here today again. That was nice one time. Oh, I see movement. Somebody's walking. I don't think they're coming this way. There's somebody in the woods. Don't go in the woods. All right, we'll walk up this way. So I hope you're enjoying walking today in the woods. We'll walk up this way and we'll switch the camera around, traverse these rocks. This. I'm going to be walking through that open field here that I like. Got a pretty good sweat going right now. Actually, as we see down this way over here. We'll come up through here. Another old foundation here. Says the foundations of the house and barn are from the Aussie Henry Osmond and Mabel Wood farm. Aussie remained on the farm after his father's death in 1913, running his father's dairy business and then eventually the entire farm. So there's a photograph of the house that used to be here. He graduated from Bates College in 1890, earned a master's degree from Radcliffe in 1904. The same year, Helen Keller got her undergraduate degree from the college. So, very cool. So, we'll head up this way. Hi, how are you? So we'll head on up through here. As you can see, a lot of the lower foliage has fallen off. And they came through and look what they did. They do this every year. This is when you know winter's here. This is that same field that was all full of poison ivy and ticks and all kinds of growth. They come through here and they cut everything down, revealing the two bird boxes. And the reason why they do that is all of this growth that they cut basically fertilizes the ground, reseeds it, as well as gives the ticks that were in here hibernation, and they'll come out next spring. Birds like to eat ticks, so there's an apple tree right there with a bench, which is usually covered by all of these shrubs and trees. So they did their annual pruning, getting ready for winter. There's been times we've come through here and there's been ice puddles frozen over, and we will see that again this year, more than likely. Shot. I'm going to put this up in the air, which is what aerial means. As you can see, it is nice out here today. 73 degrees. I mean, it's perfect. It's not humid. Perfect day. Do a good job grooming this place, and what's good about it is you don't see any trash. Right here we got a turkey feather, so the turkeys have been out. All right, mosey on down this way. Let's mosey. So the other thing I read today was basketball great Mutombo. I never could pronounce his first name well, so I'm not going to try it again, but you know who I'm talking about. Big tall guy. Mutombo is an NBA star, made a lot of money. He passed away, 58 years old, brain cancer. So he passed away from brain cancer, unfortunately. And he was a good Christian. He built an entire hospital in a country that needed it, that was poor. He did a lot of good things with his money. Very good person, and he passed away. So just figured I'd mention him. Could use more of that in the world, to be honest with you. So, I'm actually very happy about the new polling that came out. So the new polling that has come out has Trump leading in Pennsylvania. He's leading in North Carolina. He's leading in Georgia. He's leading in Arizona. He's also leading in Nevada. So that would be big enough. That would be too big to rig, as I was mentioning before. We may very well have a winner on election night. Looks like Trump's doing very well in Michigan too. So, very interesting. Trump's leading the national popular vote by 2 points. Unless you look at those stupid polls. But even the New York Times and other people are acknowledging that Trump right now is doing very well. So we could very well have it where we know the results on election night in Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. And I don't know what's going to happen with Wisconsin. Last time they were counting votes at 4 o'clock in the morning, and the next day Trump lost after this big ballot drop in Milwaukee. And we're going to have to sift through all of that stuff together. And I guess the point I'm making is they did more cheating than they have ever done in 2020, and they just barely got over the hump. So that's the point I'm making. And I don't think all these, you've been seeing media stories about illegals registering to vote. It's not in huge enough numbers. I'm not really panicked about it. If it was a close election like the media is trying to make it, I would be concerned. But it's not going to be as close as what people think it is in the swing states that matter. Let's put it that way. Plus, you have to remember other things that the media is not talking about. They've been afraid to. Republicans have outperformed Democrats in registering people to vote. And for the first time in history, that's the other thing that was reported last week, okay? I wanted to talk about this. For the first time in history, not history, but the first time in many decades, let's put it that way, more people in this country identify as conservative than liberal. That's the first time. So if you're looking for good news, those things are good news, because conservatives aren't going to vote for Kamala and her bullshit. People are tired of it. She's underperforming behind Biden to begin with from 2020. And she's underperforming where Hillary was also. Kamala is down with Hispanics. She's down with black people compared to where Trump was before. Trump is doing better in both those demographics by quite a bit, actually. And Kamala has lost 15 points among Hispanics. That's a big number. So things are looking good. If you look at everything on paper, mathematically, and then you start thinking about, okay, well, the Republicans have registered a record number, 400,000 new voters in Pennsylvania since 2020. So that's almost 500,000 new voters. They're not going to be voting for Kamala. There's no way to poll for that. So, if these people turn out to vote, Trump should win Pennsylvania. The other stat that's very interesting to pay attention to, and is true, has been proven every election has been proven, with the exception of the pandemic election, young people are not motivated to go vote, generally speaking. So, and when they are, conservative young voters do more voting. So there's a lot of pluses, and I'm not seeing a lot to really discourage me, guys. I'm not trying to be a homer. I'm not trying to be that guy that blames the referees when their team loses. You know, if your team is good enough, you play a 7-game series, it shouldn't come down to a game 7 where you have to rely on the referees. You should have put the team away early. So, you know, I'm a firm believer in that. And so, with that, we're going to hang around and see what happens. Voting is underway. A lot of people can vote right now. I saw a stat earlier today, 400,000 people have voted already. Early. In Pennsylvania, I believe. So, 200,000, it said 213,000 have voted in person, and about an equal number have voted by absentee mail-in ballot. So it's about 50-50. Very interesting, huh? The majority of the mail-in ballots are going to be Democrat, and probably a majority of in-person are going to be Republican. So when you have a majority, not majority, but when you have it split, where 200,000+ voted in person, and then you get 200,000+ that voted by mail, you know there's conservatives mixed in with the voting mail, and I don't know how many liberals are voting in person. I don't have those numbers. I don't think anybody does. But traditionally, they like to vote in person. So, we're going to go down to the whale. Well, I don't know if I want to go see the Whale Rock. I'm wondering what that is. That's the Whale Rock right there. 890 feet that way. I think we'll do just for the mileage. When I come back, I got to go up that steep hill. Not really looking forward to that today, to be honest with you, but it's got to be done. So, you know, it might be good for winter to kick in early. I'll get a chance to not walk and recoup. But I am starting to feel some wear and tear from walking so much all summer long, which is normal when you're 56. I am sweating pretty good today, though. It's nice. But for me, it's past back injury. That's really what it is for me. That's the whole thing. If I didn't have a past back injury, this would be nothing. But this is part of the reason why I'm doing it, is to stay active, keep all my joints lubed, keep everything working. So we'll mosey on down this way. Now, after one of those storms we had last winter, this whole trail through here was rather haphazard, because we had big trees like that laying across, and they've since cut them, but they were like laying across this path. I got some of those older videos from last February, I believe it was, end of January, beginning of February, something like that. And there was another one at the end of February. So, but you can see this one here, they cut a hole through it so you could walk through. And they're all, pretty much for the most part, all of the trees that fell out here were pine trees, fir trees, because they don't have a deep root system. That's really the problem. The ground was saturated from all the rain we had, and you had high winds, and they just uprooted pretty easy, fell over. And we still get some leaning in an odd way like that, in between two trees. So, So anyway, we'll head on down to the Whale Rock. Whale is rockin', and don't come and knock in. The whale is rockin', and don't come and knock in. All right, let's head on down the road. Over here we had a big mess after one of those storms. We had several trees down here, which you could see they've cut them up. We had a big mess. A lot of it's still here, like this uprooted tree right here. You can still see underneath the roots. Or in some parts of the country they say roots. And you can see that they don't have really a deep root system at all. And this is a good example of that. This entire thing right here used to be flipped up like this on top of the rock right here. So that big giant tree that was here was growing off a rock. I just find that amazing. That is amazing. So we're going to go up here on top of the Whale Rock. We're going to look down. I'll extend my pole out. Pretty cool, huh? I think so anyways. So we'll go down this way. So that's a lot of the things we deal with weather-wise in Maine. A lot of times it's really nice, and sometimes it is not. I can hear woods noises. Also see a tractor down there. I don't think it's coming this way. We won't be here by the time it would get here anyways, but you could see sometimes tractors go through here. So why is this called the Whale Rock? Well, the rock looks like a whale. That's why. From a certain point of view. Personally, I don't think it's a big deal. But apparently some people do. So let's humor those that think it's a big deal. And we will soldier on past the Whale Rock. Now we'll head back the way we came. No ATVs or snowmobiles. Walkers welcomed. Private property. So it's private property that's open to the public. Hope you're enjoying the walk with me today. I'm going to head on up through the woods. Excuse me. Head on up here. So it's going to be an interesting election. And, you know, what really amazes me is how slimy the Democrats are. They're not talking about the transgender agenda. They're not talking about firearms. They dropped the whole transgender thing with Tampon Tim. And they've been hiding him away from the public too. And we're going to have a debate coming up with J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. I urge all of you to watch it. It's going to be glorious. And J.D. Vance is a very skilled debater. Very polite. He doesn't get flustered. He comes armed with facts. It's going to be a beautiful thing to watch. So I suggest you do. There's going to be no muted microphones. There's also going to be no fact checking, according to CBS. So I think people have learned their lesson. The ABC News debate actually helped Donald Trump because it looked like they ganged up on him, which they did. So there you have it. That's what the polling suggests too. It didn't help Kamala. So all the people that hate Trump enjoyed her bullying him, throwing things at him, basically. Not literally throwing things at him, but you know what I mean. So she wanted another opportunity for another debate, and she's not going to get it. Trump's winning in the polls. Good enough. She had her chance. Now she's been doing other interviews finally. She's not doing well in them. She just did one with these two black guys. I'm watching it. And they didn't look at each other this way, but they almost looked at each other like, wow, what they said about her is true. They looked like they felt out of place and weird with their cackling and stuff. And the more she comes out and talks, the more people don't like her. So, and they know that. That's why they tried to hide her away. Now, Trump yesterday said that Kamala is not intelligent, and the news media person was, well, why do you talk about somebody like that? He goes, well, she's not. What am I supposed to do, you know? He goes, I'm not making fun of her or whatever. She's not very smart. This country needs somebody that's smart. So that's what I like about Trump. He just says things the way they are. Let the media do what they want with it. Everybody's used to Trump now. They've run out of tricks. And so if the election was going to happen today, Trump would win. So, it's my opinion. We know they're going to cheat. But as stated, I don't think they'll be able to cheat enough. This election's not as close as people are saying it is. They want to believe that, but the swing states are what matters, and the polls have been, you know, it's just amazing to me. You watch the polling. Trump's leading in Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. Okay? Now, Kamala Harris, for her to win, she has to win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Or Wisconsin, Michigan, and North Carolina, and losing Pennsylvania. So, coincidentally, they have her leading in the polling in the states that she has to win or she loses. And that's by design. That's a BS poll. It's not accurate. My best guess from what I see right now, Trump's going to win Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Might be kind of iffy with Michigan, but he's got a chance for Michigan as well. Wouldn't that be something? If he won Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, and just did a 300+ electoral college vote, massive landslide. I would enjoy that so much. I would enjoy seeing him win on election night while they're still cheating in Pennsylvania. That would be awesome. But there's a chance we will. There's a chance we will know who wins on election night. But if it's going to be Pennsylvania deciding it, we may have to wait. So that's what we'll do. It's coming soon enough. 35 days, 36 days, the election's coming. Ooh, steep hill, as you can see. I got a pretty good steady sweat going right now. My arms are wet. My eyebrows are wet. All right. Let's get up here. Got some good hamstring burn going right now. Which is the whole point of doing this. And I know you just heard me complain about coming this way because my body didn't really feel like it today. But that's when you do it. And that's the difference right there. You're either serious, committed, or not. Then it feels good when you get to the top, like I am right now. Ooh. I'm gonna sit down for a second. Hopefully the mosquitoes won't be too bad. Ooh. Deep breaths. There we go. That's when you know you're conditioned well. You take a couple deep breaths and the breathing goes right back to normal without sucking wind. So, beautiful view here. Go around in a circle. Oop. I didn't mean to make you fall over. I wanted to get a nice shot going around in a circle. I fell over again. It's hard to do. I'll spare you from a third spin around. No. But anyway, things are looking really good for the election. And I'm not going to tell you dishonest truths and give you false hope. I'm not one of those people. I'm always even-keeled. I like to look at the facts, trust but verify. And I'm just, from what I'm seeing, quite honestly, I mean, Trump should win this. And I'm not talking about the national poll numbers, even though a lot of the polls have him ahead by 2 points nationally. That includes the New York Times. But you have some really bad polls like Ipsos, just awful, biased. Bloomberg, that's another one. All of these big liberal ones are, they're just, the polling that Fox News uses is a liberal polling company, same thing. That's, you can't trust those numbers. They haven't changed their methodology that they use. And again, they can't poll for new registered voters. Republicans have really upped their game by having Laura Trump instead of Mitt Romney, I'll call her. She pretty much got caught being a rhino and falsely saying she's supporting Trump and whatever. She got removed from her position. McDaniel. What's it? Ronna McDaniel. And Laura Trump replaced her, and they really went full scale registering new voters. That's really important. And the demographics currently right now, like I was telling you earlier, is that for the first time in decades, people identify as being conservative more than liberal in the United States. And that's not something the media companies are talking about, but those are solid numbers that were just reported. So that is, that's a fact. It's very interesting. That means the country is going towards populism. They're tired of this liberal left stuff that's been in control pretty much since the 70s, with the exception of, you know, Ronald Reagan winning an election and, you know, George Bush did tremendous damage to the Republican Party. Just really terrible. And so anyway, that's my commentary on that stuff. I hope you enjoyed that. Now we're gonna find our way out of here. Let's see how much I've walked today. I got a really good sweat. I got a good workout today. You don't always have to walk 5, 6, 7 miles to get a good workout. I'm at 3 miles right now, and to be honest with you, it feels like I've walked 5 in the city, because that's how that feels a lot of times. Because you have things like walking up the hill I just came up. So I'm gonna walk through this way. I'll do about another mile in here, and then I'm gonna bug out of here. So I'm gonna flip this around because this is a nice walk through here this time of year. So I'll be quiet just so you can hear and listen. Sorry, I didn't mean to sneeze in your faces. So, I'll go up this way. Smells like fall. You can get that sweet maple leaf smell. Boy, I wish this was smell-o-vision. You guys would really like that. Love that. I love how woods smell. Mount Washington, can't see it today. Sky needs to be more clear of moisture. It's on the mild side today. It's not really humid, but it's also not Canadian cool either. I hear a woodpecker. You might have heard that faint thumping sound. That was a woodpecker beating up a tree. You've seen this before. Volunteer Memorial. Highest point in Lewiston, 516 feet, 2 inches. That's above sea level. So, north, up that way. So we're going to have a very interesting election this year, to say the least. And I'm telling you right now, between now and 5 years from now, everything is going to be turmoil and chaos. And I think Trump's going to have a very successful presidency. He's going to have the whole entire universe against him to sabotage it, because they're worried about who's going to come after him, which will be DeSantis more than likely, or Vivek Ramaswamy, or both of them together, or RFK mixed in there. And the Democratic Party does not have any good candidates, as evidenced by Kamala Harris. She is horrible. She's actually a joke. What really kills me about her the most is before the election, when she was just vice president and Biden was still a candidate, her approval level was at historic lows for vice presidents. And the Democratic Party seemed to be very depressed with Joe Biden. And then when he stepped out and she stepped in, they had this renewed enthusiasm, which they did. And they are just generally happy that they don't have Joe Biden. And now the realization is setting in that it's Kamala Harris, the person they did not like. And that's why her numbers are starting to go down. And independents that haven't decided yet are deciding. And Trump has an advantage, according to polling, with independents. He's gaining new independents. And I was saying, which is true, this election is going to come down to independents. Because we already know the two tribes are going to side for the most part. And the other thing is young people don't like to show up and vote. Now that we don't have a pandemic where everybody's locked up at home in the blue states, which was probably another strategy of the Democrats, come to think of it, was to make sure their voters were locked indoors so they would vote, because they don't have anything else to do. So that's why they mailed out all these mass ballots under the guise of it's a pandemic and we want to make sure people can vote without dying, which we know is a bunch of BS. So that's exactly what they were doing. They were cheating. So anyway, we'll head down this way. Hi. And we already went down that other way. So we will head on down this way. want to do another mile in here. So we had a green-haired girl sitting there. Now when I see people with colored hair, I just automatically assume they're hateful leftists. That's the stereotype, because that's what they've shown us. Oh, this is pretty nice. Around. So anyway, make sure you get out and vote. Very important. And get people you know that usually don't vote or haven't voted. Get them to vote. And I know every election, this is the most important election in our lifetime. And to be honest with you, in a democratic republic like we have, we are a republic with democratic values, we can lose everything every election. Joe Biden's presidency is a perfect example of that. They are using lawfare, they're weaponizing the justice system, they're weaponizing the FBI and Department of Justice to take care of political adversaries. They've even gone after a couple of Democrats. And those were politically motivated. Eric Adams in New York, if he hadn't have said anything about immigrants and migration policies from the White House, they wouldn't have prosecuted him. And you and I know that because this is an old file they had. It's like it's kind of like the old Soviet Union. They'd build a file on somebody, on every citizen, and then any dirty laundry they have that goes in the file. Then if they need it for political purposes, they prosecute somebody for a crime out of it. It doesn't matter if they're guilty or not. The whole point is they have to explain themselves. They have to go to court at great personal cost. It costs a lot of money to defend yourself in a federal court. And so, yeah, you can have a public defender, but a lot of times it's an intern or just was an intern, and they're not really there for you. They're just not. So they don't have the same resources and skill set. They're amateurs. I mean, do you want a minor league doctor or do you want a good doctor who's going to do your brain surgery? You know, so a lot of people put their houses up and, you know, they'll spend $2 million to defend themselves, then they're found innocent, and guess what? You don't get your money back. So, unless you can get that from the courts. I don't know how all that works, but I do know that it's wrong, and that's what happens to people. And you know, the other thing is you have the media pick up on it on the prosecutor's behalf, and they demonize the person that's getting prosecuted. So even if he wins a large part of the country, he still is going to have that baggage. And in the old Soviet Union, that's what they used to do. Communist countries, they still do that. They're doing that in Brazil now. So anyway, flip this around, and then on the way out of here, I'll flip the camera around, say my last words. And all of this, how many times you come here with me, this is like a running brook, a little river running through here. It's been dried up. We really do need some rain. And I know it's kind of funny complaining about that because we had like way too much rain last year. It rained about 3 years worth. So this kind of balances out, but not in the way we would like it to. We just hit 3.5 miles. black fly. I'm getting attacked by a black fly. Get away from me. I don't want to get bit by one of those. That friggin' black fly was friggin' angry. Friggin' things are loud. Those things bite you, boy, you know it. Further north you go in Maine, the more black flies you're gonna see. Now we're going to go down through that section that to me looks like the green moon of Endor in the summertime. And Return of the Jedi. Which reminds me, I wish I had a speeder bike. Hey.
Got any good shots?
Oh yeah.
Sweet. I had a DSLR camera once. Pretty cool.
Oh, we're gonna find our way out of here now. Duck is still out in the water. Same one we saw earlier. It's feeding on the bottom. Look at his rear end pointed right up in the air, eating off the bottom. Let's go get a shot of that. Funny. That was cool. Hopefully you get to see that. The duck was flipping upside down with his rear end up in the air. Pretty funny. So now we're going to walk our way out of here. This is the way we came in originally. So I'm going to walk up this way, say my last few things. First of all, thank you very much for watching and walking. Sorry about that. Battery crapped out. So I was saying, first of all, thank you for walking with me. Hope you're enjoying it. Get out in the great outdoors and do some walking yourself. If you don't, if you're somebody that does walking, you already know how cool it is. Stay healthy and in shape, and fitness is important no matter how old, but mainly this is a fitness over 50 walking blog, more or less. And probably lost about 40 pounds altogether, which took about 3 years, because I didn't starve myself. I just changed my diet and exercised by walking. So people need to realize it takes a while to put weight on, and the best way to take it off is for it to take a while to take it off. Crash diets to lose weight in a hurry, liquid diets, and none of that stuff's good for you. The proper way to do it is diet and exercise, not just exercise and not just diet. Diet change has to be long-term. You can't just stop buying junk food for 2 weeks and expect to lose 5-10 pounds. It doesn't work that way. So that's why a lot of people get disappointed and then go back to eating junk food. Oh, it's pointless. I'm not going to lose the weight anyway, so I'm going to enjoy myself. Well, that's That's not good. So anyway, we're going to walk our way out of here. And so check out what's going on with the election. Try not to get all upset with this propaganda, this anti-Trump polling, this anti-Trump rhetoric. He's doing well, okay? He's doing better than he has yet. And Kamala Harris is underperforming. That's basically all you need to know. They're in trouble, and they know they're in trouble. So their rhetoric is going to step up as the election gets closer, because they're going to realize they're not doing well. And it's might potentially get pretty ugly. So with that, we are going to walk out of here. Like I said, I'll do one last shot look around. The leaves are they're not peaking yet. We'll get there. Today is September 30th. Usually they peak right around October 7th to the 12th. So we have about another week to 2 weeks. So anyway, you'll get some nice shots from me when that time comes. It'll look nice. You'll be happy with that. So with that, I want to thank you very much for walking with me, and we'll see you on the next walk. And I'm going to do a quick look around. And thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe, share the content, and thank you for coming. So I'll end this with usually these trees right here. They're not turned yet. You get one that's well on its way right there. But when these trees are turned, all of these are red, orange, and yellow. They're not there yet. They're working on it. So we will come back by here as the season goes on. And thank you very much for coming. We'll talk to you soon, folks. Bye-bye. My shadow says goodbye. Goodbye.